The image spread across the galaxy faster than light. A golden dreadnought, the symbol of Velkari power for centuries, broken and burning in Earth's orbit. Every conquered world, every slave species, every being who had lived in fear saw it. The impossible had happened. The Empire could be beaten. Ambassador Jin Young Moon stood before the Galactic Communications Array on Earth's moon. In the past, only Velkari were allowed to use this technology. Now she prepared to send a message that would change everything. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began. "I am Jin Young Moon of Earth. 1 week ago, the Velkari Empire demanded our surrender. Today, their fleet lies broken in our space. But we do not speak to you as new conquerors. We speak as fellow beings who understand the weight of chains." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "To all who suffer under the Empire's rule, we say this: you are not alone. Rise up, fight back, and if you need help, Earth stands ready." The message went out to thousands of worlds, and thousands of worlds responded. On Kepler 442b, the Thraxians had served the Velkari for 50 years. When they heard Jin Young's message, they looked at their masters differently. The Velkari guard seemed smaller somehow, less frightening. The rebellion started in a factory. Workers refused to build weapons for their oppressors. When guards tried to force them, the Thraxians fought back. They had numbers. They had rage, and now they had hope. Within days, Kepler 442b was free. On Ross 128b, the gentle Melodians had been enslaved for their ability to calculate hyperspace routes. The Velkari had worked them to death in navigation centers. Now those same Melodians turned their knowledge against their captors. They sent Velkari supply ships into black holes. They guided warships into asteroid fields. They stranded entire fleets in empty space with no way home. The Empire's logistics collapsed in weeks. Back on Earth, Admiral Park faced a new challenge. Velkari prisoners, thousands of them from destroyed or surrendered ships. Many humans wanted revenge for Europa. Some demanded executions. "No," Admiral Park told the angry crowds. "We're better than that. We treat prisoners with dignity. That's what separates us from them." The Velkari prisoners expected torture. They got medical care and food instead. It confused them more than any cruelty would have. Dr. Jiwoo Kim didn't rest after victory. She knew Earth's quantum jump technology was the key to keeping humanity safe, but she also knew hoarding it would make Earth just another empire. "We share it," she told the World Council. "Every free world gets the technology. We spread it so wide that no empire can ever dominate again." Some argued against her. Why give away their advantage? But Jiwoo stood firm. "We won because someone believed the impossible was just physics we hadn't understood yet. Other species deserve that same chance." Her first student was a former Velkari engineer. He had surrendered after the battle, his faith in the Empire shattered. Now he wanted to learn to understand how humans had done the impossible. "Your shield frequencies," Jiwoo explained. "You never changed them because they always worked. But in science, what always works today might fail tomorrow. You must always question, always improve." The Velkari engineer listened like a child learning to walk. Captain Soo-Jin Lee took the Horizon on a new mission. Not war, but rescue. Across the galaxy, Velkari forces were trapped on hostile worlds. Cut off from supplies, surrounded by angry populations, they faced massacre. "We're taking you to neutral space," she told one group of Velkari soldiers. "You can start new lives there, or you can try to rebuild your empire. But if you choose that path, remember what happened at Earth. Most chose new lives. The Empire was dead." They could see that now. Young-Soo Bei led Squadron Delta on patrol missions, but they found few enemies. The Velkari military was collapsing faster than anyone predicted. Without the Emperor, without fear holding it together, the Empire fragmented into thousands of pieces. Some Velkari warlords tried to carve out personal kingdoms. They didn't last long. Free worlds with quantum jump drives made short work of would-be tyrants. Dr. Yoon Ji-han studied the fallen empire, trying to understand how it had lasted so long. The answer was simple and sad. They stopped growing, she reported. Once they conquered their first few worlds, they never improved. Same ships, same weapons, same tactics for centuries. They confused fear for strength. And we? Admiral Park asked. We never stop growing. It's human nature. We see a problem, we solve it. We face the impossible, we make it possible. That's why we won. 3 months after the battle, something amazing happened. A ship arrived at Earth carrying representatives from 37 species. They came to thank humanity, but also to learn. Ambassador Jin Young welcomed them all. The gallery looked like something from a dream. Tall crystalline Altarians stood next to small furry Vegans. Four-armed Centaurians talked with floating Andromedans. "You did more than break our chains," the Altarian speaker said. "You showed us we could break them ourselves. For that the galaxy thanks you." But Jin Young shook her head. "We showed you nothing you didn't already have: courage, hope, the will to be free. These aren't human traits. They're universal." The meeting lasted weeks. By its end, the framework for something new had emerged. Not an empire, but an alliance. The Galactic Council, they called it. Where every species had a voice. Where technology was shared. Where the strong protected the weak instead of enslaving them. Earth was offered leadership of this new council. They refused. "We'll take a seat like everyone else," Admiral Park said. "No single world should lead. We'll succeed together or not at all." Colonel Hyunwoo Ryu was honored posthumously. His boarding action had uploaded the virus that ended the battle. But more importantly, his sacrifice inspired others. Across the galaxy, memorials rose to the 1,000 heroes of Earth, but the real memorial was the freedom they had won. Mi Suk Jang took over the Quantum Jump Institute from Dr. Jiwoo, who wanted to return to pure research. Mi Suk's first act was to open enrollment to all species. "Physics has no nationality," she said. "Neither should knowledge." Within a year, scientists from 50 worlds worked together, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. They developed medical scanners that could heal any disease, energy sources that would never run out, technologies that turned desert worlds into gardens. The Velkari, meanwhile, faced justice. Not the justice of conquest, but something harder. They had to face their victims, had to hear the pain they had caused, had to understand what they had done. Some Velkari couldn't accept it. They fled to the galaxy's edge, clinging to dreams of renewed empire. But most, especially the young, chose a different path. They joined the council. They shared their knowledge. They worked to repair the damage their empire had caused. It would take generations, but healing had begun. Captain Min Jung-oh retired from the military. She had seen enough war. Instead, she started a shipping company using jump-capable freighters. Within months, trade flowed between worlds that had been isolated for centuries. "Commerce brings peace," she said. "When worlds depend on each other, they don't fight." She was right. The new galactic economy boomed. Art, science, and culture flowed freely. Species that had never met became partners and friends. 1 year after the battle, Emperor Thaxavil's throne room was converted into a museum. Beings from across the galaxy came to see where tyranny had died. But the most popular exhibit wasn't about the Emperor at all. It was a simple photo. Admiral Park pressing the button that launched Operation Quantum Storm. One human, one moment, one action that changed everything. The plaque beneath it read, "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite that fear. Let all who see this remember, no empire is eternal. No chains are unbreakable. No odds are insurmountable." Taeyang Shin, the scout who had mapped the enemy fleet, became an explorer. He took his tiny ship to the galaxy's unknown regions, seeking new life, new civilizations. He named every world he found after the heroes of Europa, ensuring they would never be forgotten. 5 years passed. The galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. Where once the Empire's iron fist had ruled, now 1,000 flowers bloomed. Each world developed its own culture while sharing in the greater community. Dr. Jiwoo Kim, now elderly but still brilliant, gave a speech at the 5th anniversary of the battle. "They laughed at us," she said, "called us primitive, said we were nothing, but we knew something they had forgotten. We knew that impossible is just another word for not yet done. We knew that together we could do anything." She paused, looking at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens. The Empire thought they were strong because they could destroy, but true strength creates. It lifts up. It shares, it hopes. That's what we've built together. Not a human galaxy, but a free galaxy. The crowd erupted in cheers, not just from human throats, but from 100 different species, all united in one truth. They were free. Admiral Park, retired now, watched from his garden in Korea. His granddaughter played with a Melodian child, their laughter mixing in the afternoon air. This was what they had fought for. Not conquest, but this, children playing together without fear. His aide from the war, Dong Hyun, now an admiral himself, sat beside him. "Any regrets, sir?" Dong Hyun asked. Park thought of the friends lost. The price paid. The weight of command. Then he looked at the children again. Commander Taeyang Shin floated in the darkness of space. His stealth scout ship was so small it looked like debris. No heat signature, no electronic emissions, just him and the void. Through his cockpit window, he watched the largest fleet in galactic history. 3,000 Velkari warships surrounded Earth like a steel net. Each ship was a masterpiece of destruction. The smallest could turn a city to ash. The largest could crack continents. Scout Team 7 to base, he whispered into his quantum communicator. Beginning close reconnaissance of enemy formation, Sector 12. The quantum link was humanity's edge. The Velkari used faster-than-light communication that took minutes to cross star systems. Earth's quantum system was instant, untraceable, and unhackable. Another gift from Dr. Jiwoo Kim's brilliant mind. Taeyang activated his passive scanners. Data flowed across his screens. Ship positions, weapon types, shield frequencies, patrol patterns. Every detail mattered. Back in the asteroid belt, tactical computers would turn this information into victory. He moved closer, using tiny bursts from his engines. The Velkari were arrogant. They kept their shields down, their sensors on minimal power. Why waste energy watching for an enemy that couldn't possibly threaten them? One massive battleship loomed before him. The V's World Breaker, according to intercepted communications. It had glassed 12 planets. Now it waited to add Earth to its list. Taeyang recorded everything. The ship's weak points, the gaps in its armor, the rhythm of its patrol route. In 2 days, this information would help destroy it. A smaller Velkari ship passed within a kilometer of his position. Taeyang held his breath, though he knew they couldn't hear him. The ship moved on, oblivious. Scout 7 to base. Sector 12 complete. Moving to Sector 13. He had 47 more sectors to scan. Back on Earth, Dr. Yoonji Han studied personality profiles of every known Velkari commander. She had built a database from intercepted communications, battle recordings, and testimony from refugees. "Look at this," she told Admiral Park. "Commander Vraksik of the 3rd Battle Group. He always attacks from the left flank, always. In 43 recorded battles. He never varied. Predictable," the Admiral noted. "They all are," Yoonji said. "The Velkari haven't faced real opposition in centuries. They've forgotten how to adapt. They use the same tactics that worked on their first conquest, and we'll use that against them." Admiral Park studied the enemy fleet arrangement on his display. "What about the Emperor himself?" "Proud, theatrical. He wants everyone to see his power." Yoonji pulled up video of previous conquests. "He always positions his dreadnought where it's most visible. Never for tactical advantage, always for show. So he'll be here." Admiral Park pointed to a spot directly above Earth's North Pole, where every telescope and camera can see him. "Almost certainly, he wants humanity's last sight to be his ship firing the killing blow." The Admiral smiled coldly. "Then that's where Captain Sujin will hit him first." In the asteroid belt, Earth's Armada made final preparations. 200 ships powered by humanity's desperation and Dr. Jiwoo's genius. They weren't pretty. Many were old cargo haulers retrofitted with weapons. Some were mining ships with drilling lasers converted for war. But each one carried a quantum jump drive. Captain Min Jung-oh walked through the Thunder's corridors. Her crew had painted messages on the walls. "For Europa. Earth stands. Remember the 5,000. She didn't order them removed. Anger would serve them well in the coming battle. "Captain," her first officer called. "New weapons frequency confirmed. All guns retuned to 14.8 terahertz as ordered." "Run diagnostics again," Min Jung ordered. "I want every shot to count." On the fighter deck of the carrier UES Vengeance, young Su Bei gathered his pilots one last time. They were kids, really. The oldest was 25, but they were Earth's finest. "Tomorrow we jump," he told them. "You know the plan. Hit their fighters before they launch. Target their hangar bays. Don't get caught up in dogfights. Hit and jump. Hit and jump. What if our drives fail?" asked one young woman. "Then you ram them," Young Su said simply. "Make your death count," nobody complained. They understood the stakes. Admiral Park stood in Earth's command center, now buried 2 kilometers underground. Around him, the greatest military minds of humanity prepared for impossible odds. "Status report," he ordered. "All ships report." "Ready," said Fleet Coordinator Banks. "Jump." Drives charged and synchronized. "Ground." "Forces standing by," Colonel Hyunwoo Ryu reported. 50,000 troops in position. Resistance cells on conquered worlds await our signal, Ambassador Jin Young Moon added. When we attack, 17 worlds will rise. And our special surprise? The Admiral asked. Dr. Ji-Woo Kim looked up from her console. The virus is ready. Once uploaded to their command ship, it will spread through their entire battle network. They'll lose fleet coordination within minutes. How do we upload it? Someone has to physically connect to their systems, Ji-Woo admitted. I've prepared a device. Any data port will do. Colonel Hunwoo raised his hand. My troops will handle it. We'll board the Emperor's ship. It's suicide, someone said. Maybe, Hyunwoo replied. But if we succeed, their fleet becomes a mob instead of an army. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the cost of victory would be high. On the surface, Earth pretended to prepare for surrender. Ambassador Haewon made hourly broadcasts begging for mercy. Cities held prayer vigils. The government released statements about accepting our place in the galactic order. The Velkari watched it all and laughed. They shared videos of crying humans among themselves. Some made bets on which cities would burn first. They never noticed the quantum probes recording their every move. They never detected the scouts mapping their formations. They never suspected that in hidden bunkers humans were doing what they did best, finding a way to fight against impossible odds. With 18 hours until the deadline, a new ship jumped into Earth's orbit. It was massive, golden, and beautiful in the way a poisonous snake is beautiful. The Emperor's personal dreadnought, Inevitable Victory, had arrived. It was 3 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could split moons. Its shields could withstand the combined firepower of 100 normal ships. It was the most powerful vessel in known space. Captain Sujin Lee studied its scans from her bridge. There, she said, pointing to a spot near its engines. If we hit there, we cripple its main power. That's a 5-meter target on a 3-kilometer ship, her weapons officer said. Then we better not miss. Sujin turned to her crew. This is it. Tomorrow we jump directly behind that monster. We'll have seconds before its escorts respond. Make them count. Across Earth's hidden fleet, similar conversations happened. Each captain, each pilot, each soldier prepared for the impossible. They checked weapons, ran drills, said goodbye to fears. Dr. Ji-Woo made final adjustments to the master control. Tomorrow, Admiral Park would press one button, and 200 ships would teleport into battle. The timing had to be perfect. A second too early or too late, and ships would arrive alone, easy targets. Jim-Woo, Mi-Suk Jang said softly. You should rest. Can't, Ji-Woo replied. Still calculating optimal jump points. Each ship needs clear space to materialize. If 2 ships try to jump to the same coordinates, they merge into a ball of atoms, I know. Mi-Suk had heard this fear many times. You've checked the math 1,000 times. It's perfect math, yes. But battle isn't math. Ships move. Space debris shifts. 1,000 things could go wrong. Then we trust our people to adapt. Mi-Suk squeezed her friend's shoulder. You gave us the tool. Now let the warriors use it. In Earth's command center, final preparations continued through the night. Coffee flowed like water. Officers updated tactical displays every minute. Everyone waited for dawn, for the moment that would decide humanity's fate. Admiral Park stood before the main screen, watching the red dots of enemy ships. So many. Too many for any conventional victory. But humans had never been conventional. Sir, Lieutenant Dong-Hyun approached. Latest scout reports. The Velkari are moving into final attack positions. They're forming up exactly as Dr. Yoon-ji predicted. Of course they are. The Admiral allowed himself a small smile. They've done this so many times it's routine for them. And routine makes you predictable. All our ships report ready, awaiting your command. Admiral Park looked at the countdown timer. 15 hours until the deadline. 15 hours until the galaxy learned what happened when you threatened humanity's home. Tell all commands, he said. Operation Quantum Storm launches at 800 hours. Until then, maintain cover. Let them think they've won. The message went out through quantum links. In the asteroid belt, men and women who had worked without rest for weeks prepared for one more night. Tomorrow they would either save Earth or die trying. In his throne room aboard Inevitable Victory, Emperor Thaxaville celebrated early. He drank exotic wines and accepted praise from his generals. Tomorrow, Earth would burn, and his empire would grow by one more terrified world. He never imagined that in hidden places, humans were doing what they had always done when faced with extinction. They were adapting. They were innovating. They were preparing to do the impossible. The Emperor had made one fatal mistake. He had threatened humanity's home. He had killed their people. He had given them a common enemy. He had united them. Ice Moon Europa had been humanity's pride. 5,000 colonists lived under its frozen surface, mining water and studying alien microbes. It was peaceful. It was productive. It was about to die. Admiral Park watched the sensor data from his command center on Earth. 50 Velkari warships had jumped into Jupiter's space without warning. They moved toward Europa like sharks smelling blood. "Sir, should we warn them?" Lieutenant Dong Hyun-yoon asked. His young face was pale. "They already know," Admiral Park said quietly. "There's nothing they can do." On the main screen, Europa's administrator appeared. She was trying to stay calm. "Earth Command, this is Europa Station. Velkari ships are not responding to our signals. We are evacuating to deep shelters. Please advise." Admiral Park grabbed the microphone. "Europa Station, this is Admiral Park. Get everyone as deep as you can. God be with you." The connection cut off. The Velkari ships formed a circle around the small moon. Then they fired. Green beams of energy struck the ice. In seconds, the frozen surface turned to steam. The beams kept firing, digging deeper and deeper. "They're not just destroying the base," Captain Sujin Lee said. She had come to Earth for a secret meeting. "They're melting the entire moon." She was right. Europa was turning into a ball of boiling water. The colonies, the people, everything human was gone. The whole attack took 10 minutes. Then the Emperor's face appeared on every screen on Earth. Every television, every phone, every computer showed his terrible smile. "People of Earth," he said, "you just watched 5,000 of your kind die. This is what happens to those who make me wait. You now have 25 days to surrender. Do not test me again." The screens went dark. In the streets, people screamed. Some cried. Some stood in shock. The government had hidden the first threat, but they couldn't hide this. Everyone on Earth now knew they were 25 days from death. Ambassador Haewon Choi did her job perfectly. Within an hour, she was on all news channels. Tears ran down her face as she spoke. "We are trying everything," she said. "We beg the Velkari for mercy. We are a young species. We made mistakes. Please give us time to prepare proper surrender terms." She was very convincing. In his throne room, the Emperor laughed at the recording. "You see," he told his generals. "They cry like younglings. 25 days is too generous. They would surrender today if I asked." His generals laughed too. None of them noticed that no Earth warships had tried to defend Europa. None of them wondered where Earth's fleet was. In the asteroid belt, work continued without stop. Engineer Mi-Suk Jung had not slept in 40 hours. Her teams installed quantum jump drives around the clock. "Drive 17 is online," a technician reported. "Good," Mi-Suk said. "Start on 18. We need 100 more." Dr. Ji-Woo Kim worked just as hard. She moved from ship to ship, checking each installation. The drives were her children, and she wanted them perfect. On the UES horizon, Captain Soo-jin led her crew through another drill. "Remember," she told them, "when we jump, you'll have 3 seconds of disorientation. 3 seconds where you can't see, can't think clearly. The enemy won't have this problem. So what do we do?" "Set all weapons to auto-fire before jumping," her weapons officer replied. "The computer shoots while we recover." The massive screen in Earth's United Nations Space Command filled with static before showing an alien face. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. This was Emperor Thaxaville of the Velkari Empire. Admiral Kyung-ho Park stood straight in the command center. Around him, dozens of officers watched in silence. The admiral was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in many battles, but nothing like this. "Humans of Earth," the Emperor spoke. His voice sounded like grinding metal. "I am Emperor Thaxville. My empire rules 47 star systems. Today your small world joins us." The Emperor paused. Then he laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Look at you," he continued. "You barely left your own solar system. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are weak. You still burn chemicals for fuel." More laughter came from somewhere off-screen. "We have watched you for years. You are like children playing with sticks while we command the stars." Admiral Park's face showed no emotion, but his hands held the edge of the table tightly. The Emperor leaned forward. "I am merciful. You have 30 days to surrender. If you do, we will let you live as our servants. If you refuse, he smiled, showing all his teeth, well, there will be no Earth left to remember. The screen went black. For a moment, nobody in the command center moved. Then everyone started talking at once. Admiral Park raised his hand for silence. Send a message to all fleet commanders, he said. Meeting in 1 hour. Top secret classification. His aide, Lieutenant Dong Hyun Yoon, nodded and ran to the communications desk. Dong Hyun was young but smart. The admiral trusted him completely. An hour later, 20 people sat in a secure room deep underground. These were Earth's military leaders and top scientists. Among them was Dr. Jiwoo Kim, a small woman with short black hair and thick glasses. She looked tired but excited. The Velkari Empire is everything our spies reported, Admiral Park began. They have conquered every species they met. Their technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours. In normal battle, we cannot win. Then we surrender? Asked General Martinez from the European Union forces. No, Admiral Park said. Dr. Kim, please explain. Jiwoo stood up. Her hands shook a little, but her voice was strong. For 10 years, my team worked on something we called impossible. We found a way to teleport objects using quantum entanglement. The room fell silent. Teleport? Asked Captain Soo-Jin Lee. She commanded Earth's newest warship, the UES Horizon.
You mean?
Instant travel? Yes, Jiwoo said. We can move any object from one place to another instantly. No travel time, no detection. It just appears. How big an object? Admiral Park asked, though he already knew the answer. Jiwoo smiled. Last week we moved a cargo ship from Earth to Mars. It took 1 second. The room exploded with questions. Admiral Park let them talk for a minute, then called for quiet. This is our secret weapon, he said. The Velkari don't know about it. Nobody does. We have 200 warships hidden in the asteroid belt. If Dr. Kim can install her technology on those ships, we can appear anywhere, Captain Soo-Jin finished. Behind their lines, inside their formations, right on top of their command ships. Exactly, Admiral Park said. But we need time. The Velkari must believe we are weak and frightened. They must think we will surrender. Ambassador Haewon Choi raised her hand. She was an older woman who had spent her life making peace. Now she would have to lie to save Earth. I can do that, she said. I'll beg for mercy. I'll cry if needed. They'll believe we are defeated. Good, Admiral Park said. Meanwhile, we prepare. Dr. Kim, how long do you need? Jiwoo looked at her notes. With full resources? 3 weeks. Maybe less. You have whatever you need, the Admiral said. Money, people, materials, everything. Captain Soo-Jin stood up. Sir, I want to help with the ship modifications. The Horizon is our best ship. It should be first. Agreed, Admiral Park said. Take your crew to the asteroid belt tonight. Use the old mining stations as cover. The meeting continued for 3 more hours. They planned every detail. How to hide their activities. How to fool the Velkari. How to train crews on the new technology. Outside, Earth continued its normal life. People went to work, children went to school. They knew aliens had contacted Earth, but the government said negotiations were happening. They didn't know about the threat. They didn't know about the secret fleet. They didn't know that in hidden factories, engineers worked day and night to build quantum jump drives. In her lab, Dr. Jiwoo looked at her equations again. The math was perfect. The technology worked. But using it in battle, that was different. One mistake could scatter atoms across space. Her assistant, Mi-suk Jang, brought coffee. You look worried, Mi-suk said. I am, Jiwoo admitted. We're asking people to trust their lives to technology that breaks every rule of physics we thought we knew. But it works, Mi-suk said. You proved that. In tests, yes. But in battle? With enemy fire? With hundreds of lives at stake? Jiwoo shook her head. I hope I'm not sending people to die. Mi-suk put her hand on Jiwoo's shoulder. The Velkari will kill everyone anyway if we don't try. At least this way we have hope. Far above Earth, Velkari scout ships watched and laughed. They sent reports back to their emperor. The humans do nothing, they said. They argue in their councils. They send weak messages asking for mercy. They are exactly as pathetic as we expected. The emperor received these reports in his golden throne room. Around him, representatives from conquered worlds stood in chains. They were meant to see Earth fall. They were meant to lose all hope, you see? The emperor told them. Even humans who fought among themselves for thousands of years cannot stand against us. In 30 days they will kneel like all the rest. But in the asteroid belt, hidden from all sensors, something else was happening. Ships arrived in darkness. Engineers in spacesuits worked without rest. Quantum drives were installed one by one. Crews trained in simulators, learning to fight in ways nobody had imagined. Captain Su-jin stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the work. Her first officer, Commander Tae-yang-shin, stood beside her. "Do you think it will work?" Tae-yang asked. "It has to," Su-jin said. "Dr. Kim is the smartest person I know. If she says we can jump through space, then we can. And if the Velkari adapt, if they learn our trick?" Su-jin smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Then we'll show them that humans have more than one trick. We've been fighting each other for 10,000 years. We've gotten very good at war." Back on Earth, Admiral Park stood alone in his office. On his desk was a picture of his family. His wife, his 2 daughters. They lived in Seoul, unaware of the danger. He was doing this for them. For all the families on Earth. He picked up a secure phone and called the president. "Yes, sir," he said. "Everything is on schedule. In 3 weeks we'll be ready. And if they attack before then?" the president asked. "Then we fight with what we have," Admiral Park said. "But they won't. They're too arrogant. They want to make an example of us. They want the galaxy to watch Earth surrender. Let's hope you're right." "I am," Admiral Park said, "because the alternative is too terrible to consider." He hung up and looked out his window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the Velkari Empire waited. They thought Earth was weak. They thought humans were nothing. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 1 month after the 3-day war, the Galactic Council met again. The same chamber that had ignored humanity's pleas now buzzed with nervous energy. Every species sent their highest representatives. They all had the same question. What would humanity do with its new power? Ambassador Lee Soo-jin entered the chamber differently than before. No longer did she bow or wait to be acknowledged. She walked straight to the podium and the room fell silent. Behind her stood Captain Park Ji-ho, his uniform now bearing the insignia of Earth's military attaché. "Distinguished members," Lee began, her voice carrying to every corner. "1 month ago you sat in these same seats while the hegemony admitted to murdering our children. You called for more evidence. You asked for patience. You did nothing. Some representatives looked away. Others shifted uncomfortably. The Vorth ambassador's scales turned purple with shame. They all remembered that day. They all knew their silence had led to this moment. Today the hegemony is broken. Their military might is dust. Their empire is ended." Lee paused, looking at each species in turn. "We did in 3 days what you said was impossible. Now we will speak and you will listen." She touched her datapad. A hologram appeared showing the new galactic map. Human space, once small and scattered, now included former hegemony territories. But more interesting were the green zones marked throughout the galaxy. "These are the new protected zones," Lee announced. "Any species that cannot defend itself may request human protection. We will station ships in their space. Any attack on them will be considered an attack on Earth itself." Whispers filled the chamber. The weaker species looked hopeful. The stronger ones looked worried. Humanity was rewriting the rules of galactic society. The ethereal collective's representative, a being of pure energy, pulsed with curiosity. "What does humanity want in return for this protection?" "Nothing," Lee replied. "Protection is not for sale. It is a right of all peaceful species. For 2 centuries we watched the strong prey on the weak. No more. And if a species refuses your protection," asked the Senti ambassador, his many eyes blinking nervously, "then they are free to defend themselves." Captain Park spoke for the first time. "But know this, the days of empires built on conquest are over. Any species that attacks another will face humanity's response. We have shown restraint once. We may not do so again." His words sent chills through the chamber. They all remembered the efficiency of humanity's war machine. They had seen the hegemony, mighty for 1,000 years, fall in 3 days. None wanted to be next. Over the following weeks, requests for protection flooded Earth's diplomatic channels. Small species that had lived in fear for centuries suddenly found human warships patrolling their borders. The galaxy's balance of power shifted overnight. Professor Nam Kiho of the Galactic War College studied these changes with fascination. He was Vorth, not human. but he understood military history better than most. In his lectures, he explained humanity's victory to confused students. The humans won not through superior numbers or resources, he said, his scales shifting to emphasize points. They won through preparation and restraint. While other species displayed their power openly, humans hid theirs. They appeared weak to avoid conflict, revealing strength only when survival demanded it. A young Senti student raised several arms. But Professor, why did they spare hegemony civilians? They had every reason for revenge. Nam's scales turned thoughtful blue. That is what makes humans terrifying. Not their weapons or tactics, but their choice. They could have committed genocide and called it justice. Instead, they surgically removed only the threat. They showed they can destroy completely but choose not to. That choice gives them moral authority no conqueror has ever held. On Earth, General Choi Hae-jin stood before the Global Assembly. The emergency war footing was ending. It was time to reshape humanity's military for its new role. We are no longer fighting for survival, she told the assembled leaders. We are now guardians. Our ships will patrol not just our space, but the space of those who cannot protect themselves. This is a sacred trust. She unveiled the new military doctrine. Combat forces would be reduced by half. The resources would go to patrol ships, medical vessels, and disaster response teams. Humanity would be ready for war but focused on peace. We have proven we can destroy, Choi said. Now we must prove we can protect and build. The galaxy watches our every move. We must be worthy of the power we showed. Lieutenant Moon Da-yoon, one of the fighter pilots who survived the battle at Saturn, now commanded a patrol vessel in Vorth space. Her mission was different from what she had trained for. Instead of destroying enemies, she escorted merchant ships and responded to distress calls. One day, she received an emergency signal from a Vorth colony under attack by pirates. These were not hegemony remnants, but simple criminals taking advantage of the chaos. Moon's ship arrived to find 3 pirate vessels threatening a defenseless settlement. Pirate vessels, this is the Earth Defense Force, Moon broadcast. You have 10 seconds to withdraw or be destroyed, the pirates laughed. They had not seen the 3-day war. They thought humans were still the weak species of old. They fired on Moon's ship. It was their last mistake. Her response was swift and final. 3 pirate ships became 3 clouds of debris in less than a minute. The Vorth colonists sent grateful messages. Children drew pictures of human ships standing guard over their homes. Stories spread of humanity's protection being real, not just words. More species requested to join the protected zones. But the most surprising change came from the hegemony worlds themselves. Without their military might, they had to learn new ways. Human advisors helped them transition from a warrior culture to something else. It was painful and slow, but it was happening. Mindweaver Ilthan, the last surviving member of the hegemony's leadership, met with Ambassador Lee on the anniversary of Arcturus Station's destruction. His smoky form seemed smaller now, humbled by defeat. I do not understand, he said. We destroyed your colonies. We killed your children. Why do you help us rebuild? Lee's expression was complicated. Pain, yes, but also something else. Because hatred is easy. Building is hard. We could occupy your worlds forever. But that would make us like you were. Instead, we choose to show you a different path. Your people will learn that strength comes not from conquering others, but from protecting them. And if we refuse to learn? Ilthan asked. Then your children will teach you, Lee replied. They grow up seeing human ships as protectors, not conquerors. They learn about the 3-day war as a cautionary tale, not a glory to repeat. In a generation or two, your species will be ready to join the galactic community as equals, not overlords. Across the galaxy, humanity's influence grew. Not through conquest, but through example. Species that had never known peace began to experience it. Trade routes that had been dangerous for centuries became safe. Scientific cooperation replaced military competition. The ethereal collective, always analyzing, published their findings on the new order. Humanity has achieved something unique in galactic history. They won a total military victory, and then chose not to exploit it. Instead, they became gardeners, helping others grow strong enough to stand on their own. But everyone understood the unspoken truth. The gardener carried a very big stick. Human ships patrolled peacefully, but their weapons remained ready. The technology that broke the hegemony was not forgotten. It waited quietly, a deterrent to any who might disturb the new peace. General Choi, in her final speech before retirement, said it best. For 200 years, we tried to join the galaxy through patience and diplomacy. We were met with violence and contempt. So we revealed our strength, not to rule, but to say simply this: we are here, we are staying, and we will ensure that what happened to us happens to no one else. The 3-day war passed into legend. Different species told it different ways. To some, it was a cautionary tale about underestimating others. To others, it was an inspiration that the weak could become strong. But to humanity, it was simply the moment they stopped asking for their place in the galaxy and took it. And in the vast darkness between stars, human ships continued their patrols. Silent guardians carrying terrible power but choosing every day to use it for protection rather than conquest. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons, but their ability to choose when not to use them. The patient species had revealed its power, and in doing so they had changed the galaxy forever, not through fear alone, but through the hope that strength could be used to lift others up, rather than hold them down. It was a new order built on a simple truth. The most powerful choice is often the choice to protect rather than destroy. The stars continued their ancient dance, but now they danced to a different tune. And humanity, no longer begging for acceptance, stood watch to ensure the music never again turned to screams.